Hi all, Jin here, and the Savior himself, along with the final piece of the disciplinary committee, has arrived. I will be going over both Sazh and Raijin's kits, EX Pluses, and my thoughts and recommendations while taking them into the Alexander Chaos fight afterwards. As usual, in the pinned comment are timestamps for easy navigation, as well as a link to my full playlist for all the how-to-play vids I've done. If you have yet to see my pool battle for Sazh and Raijin with Mino Spellgood from the Crystal Chronicles podcast, I'll put a link in the description below. And now let's go over both of them, just one at a time, as they both got reworks and a brand new realizable EX, while including their character boards as well. So starting with Sazh, the Bat Killer's base kit. His skill 1, Aim, is a high turn rate, guaranteed 4 Brave HP attack with 170% overflow. If an enemy is debuffed, Aim becomes its plus version with a Brave gain of 30% max Brave with 110% overflow into a 4 Brave hit HP attack with 200% overflow. If targeting a debuffed enemy, he will grant himself generic buffs of attack up 20% and 30% defense up for 4 turns. His skill 2, Attack Boost, is a high turn rate battery of 110% attack into a 3 Brave hit HP attack with 160% overflow. It does not consume a turn count and will grant himself the generic buff of 60% speeds up for 8 turns, as if he needed it, as well as grants to the party generic buffs of attack up 70%, max Brave up 60%, along with the critical rate up of 100% for 8 turns. For 10 turns after using his skill 2, he gets his Brave Plus, a guaranteed 2 Brave hit, and his HP Plus, a guaranteed 2 Brave HP attack. They will both inflict the target with attack and defense down of 20% for 6 turns. His EX ability, Cold Blood, is a guaranteed 12 AoE Brave Split HP attack, followed by a 4 AoE Brave Split HP attack with 120% overflow that grants himself the unique icon buff Choco Chick Fever for 6 turns, which is attack and max Brave up 40%, extends the duration of buffs granted by 2 turns, while giving the party aura of attack and max Brave up 5%, critical Brave damage up 50%, and damage overflow up 20%. It's a surprise he's allowed to keep his guns and isn't killing everyone around him while he's doing that EX animation. His C65 and C70 is party attack up 20% and damage overflow up 10% for 3 turns. The bloom extends it to 5 turns while giving it an additional use. It's an amazing AA that increases attack aura and overflow, so definitely get it. Now onto his EX Plus. At 0-3, his EX ability hits harder with 150% overflow and inflicts 20% speed down to all. At 1-3, he gets attack and max Brave up 40%. At 2-3, he starts with all his buffs, including his EX buff, and the party also starts with all his skill 2 buffs. At 3-3, his EX becomes Ludicrous. It hits harder with a 7 AoE split HP attack executed twice, followed by a 6 AoE split HP attack, all with 200% overflow. So in terms of what you should invest, Sazh is a good enough unit to keep at base EX or 0-3 and still be useful. He will still help to amp up the party like crazy as usual, especially once you get his EX buff up. Just his own damage will suffer. That being said, if you want to invest any ingots, then just go all the way to 3-3 for that ludicrous EX damage of his. That comes up pretty fast. For his sphere, it's pretty decent, a 5% up to party attack for 6 turns after a critical hit, so something almost anyone with a D sphere can proc easily. It lasts a nice length too, so choose whoever you want to increase party attack with the D sphere and just not someone like Selfie. Sazh will always like more attack, so you can give him A and C spheres that do just that. Brave damage boost A spheres also work too for his insane EX. Giving him a healing C sphere like Porums or Rosas isn't necessarily a bad idea either, since he's a great support that lacks healing. For arts, he's a standard person wanting 3 108s first, and then I'd say buffed attack is a slight edge over max Brave 330 since his skill 2 battery is the party based on attack, and the more attack helps with his multiple HP dump EX. But 330 is still fine as well, especially since his Brave gain on skill 1 is based on max Brave also. Mine is still a work in progress, but we got a great co-op to get plenty of Adojas, and gotta love that 108 330 for 5 CP at least. So how to play Sazh? Well, Sazh is pretty simple generally. Keep your buffs up and do damage. But there's a couple details in his kit that may go unnoticed. A non-2-3 Sazh is going to have to start with skill 2 first, of course, to grant everyone their buffs, but otherwise a 2-3 and up Sazh is ready to start right out the gate. Almost. If neither of his teammates inflict debuffs, you will want to start with an HP plus normally to inflict attack and defense down, so that will unlock his Aim Plus ability. Plus it never hurts to debuff the enemies first anyways. Try to keep enemies debuffed to always have his Aim Plus available. Keep in mind that his Brave Blast also applies the same debuffs, but normally you'd prefer to just HP attack than not. His EX at 0-3 also applies a speed down debuff. If you played with Sazh during the 35 CP era, you will be familiar with his crazy high turn rate abilities, so always keep in mind his check where he will jump up to and plan out what you want to do. His skill 2 is pretty useful to prevent party breaks, and do keep in mind that his skill 1 does need to target a debuffed enemy for him to get his defense up buff, if you care for it. His skill 1 attack buff is negated by his powerful 1 from skill 2, so it doesn't matter. If you're running Sazh with someone else you'd like to extend important buffs with, do make sure to time his skills at the proper time. Like for example, when Bane just gets his 3rd stack of his free turn buff, then you can cast Sazh's skill right after. So, onto Sazh's pros. Well, he has an awesome Choco Chick with his crazy gun showboating EX that is up fairly fast and deals an insane amount of damage with multiple HP dumps. With his high amount of skill uses and fast EX, even with his insane speed, has great longevity. He still maintains his Bat Killer title where almost everything he does is a guaranteed hit, not always useful but can be in some situations. Similar to Hope and Aiko, Sazh has a buff extension passive to extend buffs for the party. His skill 2 is great because it takes up no turn count and batteries the party and dishes out pretty good damage as well. He also has some utility in terms of debuffs, even though they're low potency but they're still useful. But his biggest and best attribute is the same reason that made him a god with his 35 CP early release, which is making his teammates hit so much better. The Tombe troop always neatly compiles these for easy access, so a big shout out to them as usual. And you can see all that he brings: attack up 75%, max brave up 75%, eye brave up 10%, critical rate up 100%, critical brave damage up 50%, and damage overflow up 20%. His AA adds even more party attack and overflow for 10 turns, albeit his 10 turns is pretty fast though, but safe to say he makes your damage dealers do cap brave damage a lot easier. And with all these buffs he brings, he can nearly cleanse your party of debuffs as well with them. That being said, it's also part of his cons, because a lot of what he brings for the party is packed into 3 very strong generic buffs, so being as they are generic, they can be pushed off by other teammates' buffs or dispelled. Sazh also is still way too fast. He's the only person I removed the buff speed passive from in normal team play. Lightning is fast, but I like her speed to help her get more breaks and free turns. But this guy, he just needs to chill out. Every ability is essentially high turn rate. He also has no AoE brave shaving capability outside of his EX, although I guess his fast turn rate does help him shave multiple enemies if needed. He is also another godly support that brings no healing, so you're generally going to be forced to bring someone else with healing alongside him that doesn't bring a lot of buff themselves, hopefully. So my final thoughts on Sazh: if you're used to playing with him in his 35 CP days in GL, he brings back all the same good and bad memories. All the turn stealing, and the crazy amount of generic buffs, but with his new rework and EX he's worth it all again, making your party hit hard as hell, and doing the same himself. Just make sure not to bring units that will push off his buffs, and as long as they have the same overlapping buffs then it's fine. His will probably be stronger than theirs anyways. Also, any unit that does a lot of brave hits or has powerful buffs that can be extended can take even more advantage of what Sazh brings to the table. Pretty much the god, our lord and savior, has returned. Alright, now onto the god of thunder, Raijin. Let's go over his base kit first. His skill 1, Fist, is a 5 brave HP attack with 170% overflow, which grants the party 35% physical attack up for 6 turns. His skill 2, Raijin Special, is a 4 brave HP attack with 130% overflow and 50% splash that inflicts thunder resist down to all enemies for 4 turns while granting himself 50% max brave up and thunder mode, which is indicated by the thunder around him for 6 turns. While in thunder mode, he gets a brave plus, which is 3 brave hits, and the plus version to both of his abilities. Fist Plus becomes Lightning Elemental with a brave gain of 30% max brave prior, along with an increased overflow to 200%. Raijin Special Plus, the brave hits become AoE with increased overflow to 160%. His EX ability, Raijin Pulverizer, is a 6 brave HP attack with 120% overflow that also grants 6 turns of Thunder mode, along with the unique buff Thunder Peel for 6 turns, and adds a stack to it if he already had it. Pretty much every action he does, with the exception of his Paralyze ability, will grant him an additional stack for a max of 3 stacks. Thunder Peel also grants an attack and max brave boost of 10% to himself with an additional 10% of both per stack, along with Lightning Enchant and 20% max HP regen for the party. While at 3 stacks, his HP attack changes to an ability, Lightning Discharge, which is a 3 AoE brave split HP attack that paralyzes all targets while resetting his number of stacks back to 1. His C65 and C70 is a 2 brave HP attack that grants party physical attack up 15% for 3 turns. His Bloom extends this to 5 turns with an additional use. Definitely worthwhile to get since it includes an HP dump as well outside of the party aura and actually adds to his Thunder Peel stack count as well. Now onto his EX Plus. At 0-3, his EX ability hits harder with 160% overflow and 50% splash, while also inflicting Thunder Resist down for 4 turns. At 1-3, he gets an additional party aura of 40% attack and max brave. At 2-3, he and the party start off with all his buffs essentially. He's just missing his EX buff, but he now starts with his EX charged. At 3-3, his EX ability has brave hits increased to 8 from 6, along with 100% splash now. He unlocks his HP Plus, which is a 2 brave HP attack with 120% overflow, and unlocks the plus version of his special HP Plus, Lightning Discharge Plus, that adds overflow of 120% as well. So how much to invest in Raijin? Unlike Sazh, he's missing a lot more if you don't invest ingots into him. If you're really tight for resources, you'll want at minimum a 1-3 for the party auras, but 2-3 will give him his EX charge so you can imperil and start building stacks right away. And 3-3 unlocks his HP Plus and 100% splash on his EX, so I definitely recommend a 3-3 on Raijin. Even though Sazh, I would still recommend 3-3, but if you only had to choose 3-3 in one of the two, go for Raijin since he's gonna need it more at least. His sphere is amazing for any physical attacker like himself, which grants physical attack up 15% for 6 turns when breaking or attacking a broken target. A very easy sphere to proc with long duration as well. Just make sure you put it on someone who is a physical attacker. For his D and E spheres, he'll benefit from attack as usual, so you can emphasize that. And he also does debuff enough between his special HP attack skill 2 and EX, so just make sure that he is given spheres that he can proc as all. Also, you could give him more debuff utility by giving him debuff spheres as well, since his only current debuffs are Paralyze and Thunder Imperil. If you give him Speed Down Sphere, that will help close the speed gap since he is a slow boy after all. For arts, similarly, he wants 3 108s first and then Max Brave second. His C50 is not a bad third option either since it gives 5% Max Brave and I Brave up, but he doesn't make that great use of I Brave unless there's a huge I Brave boost person in the party like Afmao or something. So raw 330s I'd say are a bit better. Mine is definitely good enough though, got these from his Awakening Cosmos co-ops a while back. Wishing those 108 200s were 108 330s, but I'll take it. So how to play Raijin. I'll explain it from a 3-3 Raijin's perspective mostly, but for a budget one, you're going to want to start with his skill 2 first, to apply the Thunder Resist down, get his Max Brave buff up, and Thunder mode started. Then you can just use his skill 1 after for the party physical attack up buff. Otherwise, start with his EX ability always. This will get the Thunder Resist down to all and get his unique buff up so you can start stacking right away. Raijin will be a build up stacks and use it kind of character, but it's not that bad since everything he does build stacks, and once at 3 stacks you can fire off his special HP plus for the AoE Paralyze. You can sometimes hold off on using this if you want to paralyze the enemy's next turns, but otherwise generally just use it right away since you'd be wasting a turn of building stacks again. Keep in mind his AA does add stacks as well, so if you really need a paralyze you could use 1 or even 2 AAs to go right into the special HP plus. Just make sure you're not having your buff fall off in the process, and I also would not advise using his AA if you're already at 3 stacks. And similarly, like going into summon for example, it's best to have paralyzed the boss, let them act their paralyze, and then summon, and then let him build his 3 stacks in summon if you're keeping him in summon. And similar to Fujin, when starting a new boss wave and your EX is not up, start with his skill 2 to apply the Thunder Resist down, otherwise use his EX to do that. Both his skills and Brave Plus have high turn rates in Thunder mode, so try to use his skills more often to make up for his slow speed. His skill 1 is useful for higher single target damage and reapplying the party's physical attack buffs, but if you need to AoE Brave Shave, then go with his skill 2 if your special HP plus is not up, since those are the only 2 that can do AoE Brave Shaving. Which brings me to his cons, the lack of on-demand AoE Brave Shave in his kit, since even his EX does not do that, and his skill 2 is limited to only 6 skill uses, which is more useful to apply the Thunder Resist down when needed. At least his special HP plus also does AoE Brave damage, but then everyone is paralyzed anyways afterwards, so not like them having Brave matters that much. Unless the enemy is immune to paralyze, then why are you even bringing Raijin? But at least it does help him gain Brave easier as well to do more damage. Also, it's been mentioned kind of already, but he's damn slow, so while building stacks is easy, he doesn't exactly get a lot of turns to do so, nor are you able to time his paralyzes that easily. Rem is an amazing solution for that, by the way. The underrated girl is so good and can help him build stacks constantly for tons of paralyzes, and more importantly time the paralyzes easier with her swap turns. He also brings 0 battery for your party, which as a semi-support kind of sucks since most supports have some way to battery your party one way or the other. But that leads me to his pros. He's pretty awesome support in every other way. He brings Imperil and Enchant, HP regen along with amazing auras of attack up 70%, physical attack up 35%, and max brave up 50%. His Enchant is an aura, just like Fujin's rather than a buff like Garnet's, and his EX is also decently fast, so he can upkeep the resist down without too much worry, along with it also being 100% AoE EX as well. This also helps with his longevity since even though he has a lowish amount of skill uses, his EX speed and his slow speed makes his longevity quite decent. Also, for being a stack character, it's actually really easy to build his stacks, and then allowing him to paralyze all enemies essentially every 3 turns is pretty damn OP. So my final thoughts on Raijin: he's an amazing support and utility unit while also dealing decent damage himself. He brings everything you need to the table plus more: auras, enchant, imperils, heals, and AoE paralyzes. You can shore up his weaknesses by bringing a battery and or speed up character alongside him, similar to Rem as mentioned before. Fujin also helps to slow down enemies and speed him up as well, and I love the fact that the full disciplinary committee can actually work together as a proper team. And as much as I hate to say it, because I love Fujin, but he's probably the most important piece to the trio, since neither of the other 2 can heal. And don't tell me your Fujin with healing C-Sphere would be enough. So that's why I was adamant in collecting him to complete the set, and I'm sure I will run the 3 in the future together for something. In terms of comparing the two on this banner for which one you'd rather have or build up, while they both do different things, I'd consider Sazh a slightly stronger team member than Raijin in most situations in Chaos right now, due to his ridiculous EX and party amping powers, along with the buff extension on top of that. But he does have a lot of buffs, so slotting him in team comps is not as easy, and he does take up a lot of turns, so as time goes on and the stronger your other party members get, the less turns you want Sazh taking. And that's where Raijin comes in, since he's no slouch either and almost equally as good, if not better depending on the situation. As a slower unit, he might be a bit cumbersome, especially the time his AoE paralyzes, but the stronger your other units get, they can happily take his turns away and just live off of his utility, which is the enchant and peril auras, healing, etc. In terms of if they're Lufania viable, I'd hesitate to say any unit should be pulled now with the intent of using them in Lufania. It's just an added bonus if you can use older characters later, but you might as well just save and pull much better units with LDs and bursts at that time if you're worried about clearing Lufanias in the future. Shout out to Black Cloud and Inkwelder who I was discussing this with, but it pretty much boils down to the fight requirements whether or not they can even be used. But that being said, they both bring useful enough utility that can help your stronger units at that time if the fight requires it. That's why I always love my supports, they can always last a long time if your other two units with them are strong enough. That's why like in Chaos I can easily bring a 35 CP support and complete the Chaos while not being able to bring a 35 CP DPS for example. So I can't necessarily say that this 35 CP unit is Chaos viable with just their 35 CP, but they do bring enough utility and support that my other two characters can carry them through. Which is why a banner with two great supports I consider to be one of the best of this era, and definitely a banner you should consider pulling on at least if you have any interest in either of these characters at all. Okay, so for this Chaos fight, I was considering bringing Rem to just let Raijin have tons of turns to keep building up his paralyze ability, and she doesn't take up any important buff slots for Sazh either, but I've used her a lot already to showcase units because she just fits so well with so many people, but I'll just be bringing someone else for variety this time. And that's where my sexy tripperoth will come in. He brings the gravity for shaving if needed, and the many brave hits to take advantage of Sazh's buffs, along with Raijin's auras and Imperil and Enchant. He'll be hitting 9s on his Fervent Blow all day, which is like a 150k per skill, so hopefully this should work out. He's also triple sphered as well. He's a very beautiful man. A lot of Leos for farming. I mean, I guess we could take a Leo. I mean, just in case, if we need a friend unit in an emergency. We can take Ultimas. I support this. I support this support message, by the way. That's awesome support message. And, yeah. Let's do this. Of course, we're gonna start with skill 1. All those 9s right out the gate. Let's go ahead and debuff him. Imperil. Yeah, we can take the break. Skill 2, get all my max stats now. Oh, there goes all my debuffs. It's okay. What the heck? 5. That's annoying. Let's not eat this, I guess. Get my 3rd stack here. Just dump this. Jump up. But it's okay, I'll take the break. I don't want to take the break here though. Catch everybody else. Go ahead and paralyze him first. My EX will be up after this. Crazy EX animation. I don't even know we were shooting that in the air there. Start building stacks again. Yeah, I'll battery Sephiroth with Sazh. No, he missed anyways. Revere and worship me. So I gotta break him twice. I hate that it's the 50k, we're doing like 49k damage, that's what sucks. Another 50k. At least Sephiroth can take care of this, no problem. Yeah, we're gonna paralyze him. And let's go ahead and battery everybody. And let's not take the break. Damn, 98k, brave. I wish she had a brave refund ability. I wish they all did. Let's just dump this first. $80k plus 70 is 150. 210k. I wish we didn't have to do math. We had JP's quality of life would be nice. Oh, perfect. Look how slow Raijin is. He's all the way back there. I like that he jumped up though, that's perfect. And he's gonna jump out of break. He's gonna come out of break now. And this battery, everybody. Does he have a loot up? I don't know if my paralyze can hit. Ringing Dispeller would be nice. Well, let's try. Damn it. I'm gonna save my EX for his recast ability. So we're just gonna dump this. Yeah, that's good. And we can Brave Attack here. Get our EX up as well. Ooh, it's HP attack. I didn't see that coming. Third, so we're gonna have to do a 300k shave here. Sazh will take care of the first. I'll just save those for later. There's our second. I don't think Raijin can do anything about that. Tripperoth can though. I wish I could jump up. So this will be the third one, right? What you got? How many hits does this do? Doesn't do 10 hits. I've already forgotten. 8 hit. 8 hits, that's not gonna shave it down. That's not gonna shave it down. Let's summon. Let's go ahead and get our EX up. Who cares? That's not aim plus. $150k. I wish I started off with battery here, but it's okay. Can we paralyze him? Yeah, he got it. Good job, my man. Good job, my man. Yeah, let's jump up. Let's go ahead with using one of these. I have a lot of abilities. Should I use one on the AA? Nah. Let's go ahead. You got a paralyze coming up for you right after this. Yes, his elude is finally off. Now we can paralyze with no fear. I want to jump off. So let's just go ahead and take this. Yeah, let's go ahead and take this. It's a nice miss too. And now we can paralyze you again. I'm gonna get a beautiful dump here. Let's go ahead and use one of these. Let's jump ahead even further here. Yeah, I want Sazh to jump up. So let's do that. He has a mother freaking elude again. Yeah. Let's see if we can paralyze him. Perfect. And then let's just go ahead and start delaying him then. I don't want to deal with his shit again. Let's go ahead and boost up Leo here. Let's start building our stacks again. I'd rather him jump up. He's so slow. Why are you so slow? It's okay. At least Sazh will jump up. Yep. That's what I want. We got a delay in between anyways. Should be okay. Hopefully that paralyze works. So I'm gonna want to jump up and save my paralyze for now. What? I didn't know that was. I didn't know you could do that. You mother freaker. That was not cool, man. Nine. That's terrible. I was hoping you paralyze him. Oh, he's gonna freaking cleanse his devos anyways. This is perfect. This is perfect. We were able to shave it all down. Perfect. I'm out of these, right? Yep. Doesn't matter. This mother freaker. You're done for. We got you good. These are gonna do more damage than his EX, so. Let's see if we get the paralyze. Let's go ahead and do extra damage beforehand. We got the paralyze. It's over. It's over. You're dead anyways. Perfect. Dang, that's pretty tough. Harder than I thought. That recast ability is pretty sick. If it didn't have the elude, it would have been a lot easier. But having RNG on the paralyzed really made it more difficult. Well, it did work out. And you can see how clutch the paralyzes can be, and he can bring up the paralyzes pretty quickly. Sazh with that EX shaping ability. And Raijin's damage is actually reduced here because there's not multiple enemies, you're not getting his splash, you're not getting his 100% AoE EX. So he's actually should be hitting a lot more damage than he was there as well. So they do have all their character boards. I don't have any spears on them because I'm probably saving them for other people, but these are my arts. He's looking pretty good. And Sephiroth, this beautiful sphere man. Got his own clouds, veins, and he has 330s and a C50. I'm gonna definitely pity his burst. Hopefully I don't have to, but... And that's it. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned stuff about Sazh and Raijin. And if you want an easier time on this battle, I mean, even I had the 2 banner 3-3 units, that was still pretty rough. The easiest solution is just delay to Kingdom Come, and then you will be fine, no problem. Otherwise, good luck if you're going through this without any delay team. It's pretty interesting and pretty fun actually, so I'm glad that worked out at least, and I hope you enjoyed. Thanks. Bye.